inside the 20th episode of Buc Update Central, the weekly ETSU Athletics highlight show. And I'm Parker Schwartz as we look at one of the most successful weeks in ETSU athletics history, you could say. The men's tennis team battled two Power 5 schools out in Los Angeles, while men's and women's basketball had two contests apiece, starting with the men's team down in Birmingham, Alabama. A tough game with Scott Padgett's Samford Bulldogs on tap, and that man would have a big part in this one. Back and forth in the first half, the Bucs take a momentary lead on the penetration from Isaac Banks. Samford's Demetrius Denzel Dyson with 9 points, though, in the first half. The Bulldogs' biggest lead at 7. But then the Bucs an impressive end to the period, an 11-3 run, 50% shooting from the floor, and the flush from David Burrell. Bucs up 7 into the locker room. Hot shooting day for senior TJ Cromer. He had a team best 27 on 10 of 20 shooting, but not enough to remove Samford's scoring threats. It's a 1-point game after the Demetrius Denzel Dyson 3. The Bulldogs tied it up with a chance to win the game, but the last-second shot falls short. We're headed for overtime. The Bucs out to another lead in the first session, but those pesky Bulldogs tie it up again, and we're ticketed for OT number 2. And that's when the Bucs turned up the volume. With time to burn, TJ Cromer pulls the trigger anyway. Hey, it worked. And the Bucs grab a huge road victory in Alabama. Setting up the gold out game inside Freedom Hall Saturday. Good sign for the blue and gold, carving inside for some early buckets. ETSU stretched out the floor too as Jermaine Long knocks down the jumper, and it was tied at 34 apiece at halftime. The game would be won on a few critical plays. One of them, this slam dunk by Hunter Mascara-Perea. Freedom Hall electric. Less than a minute later, another rim rattler for Mascara-Perea, and people losing their minds inside the stadium. The Mocs weren't going away. Jonathan Burrows Cook with the 3. Chat up 1. Bucs kept getting fouled, though, and a double-double performance for Tevin Glass wrapped this one up. 4 of the 5 ETSU starters finished in double figures, the first win over the Mocs since March 2014. So a 2-0 week for ETSU men's basketball. The next test for Steve Forbes' team, they'll take on the VMI Keydets in Lexington, Virginia, facing the SoCon Player of the Week and QJ Peterson. The other team we're going to look at, Brittany Ezel's women's basketball team. They've won their last 2 games, and they had a couple road contests down in South Carolina. Bucs winners of their last 2, eyeing their longest win streak of the season at Furman. The Paladins knocked out the Bucs from the SoCon tournament last year, and this start set the tone. ETSU to a 7-0 run in the first quarter. Not a single Furman basket until 6 minutes erased on the game clock. The big story in this one, Bridges and Tarter. The backcourt combined for 50 of the Bucs' eventual 74 points. Bridges 27 on 9 of 21 shooting and played the entire 40 minutes. And of course, Johnson City native Tiana Tarter with a splash. Tarter 33 points, 10 of 14 from the field, and 12 of 15 from the charity stripe. Oh, not to mention, she was helping out her teammates with 12 boards and 5 assists. The Paladins within 4 points of that ETSU lead in the final period, but no fear as Tarter darts to the rim to wrap this thing up. ETSU 74, Furman 64. ETSU stayed in South Carolina, now a date with Wofford. A much improved Terriers team from last season. Made life awfully difficult at the outset. ETSU trailed most of the first half. Team was only 12 of 31 from the floor, and Wofford the opposite. Terriers could not miss. 17 of 27 in the first 20 minutes. 11 points apiece for Chloe Wannick and Kelsey Lambden. The Bucs came back. Mallory Schur sets the tone in the third quarter, and then senior Shamaria Bridges would hit 2 more within the span of a minute's time. The Bucs only down 2 buckets when Kelsey Marasites drilled the 3. Despite all that, Wofford still eking out a lead going into the final period. And this is when Tiana Tarter became Superwoman from the perimeter, driving to the tin and applying the dagger at the conclusion. She pretty much did what had to be done here, folks. 29 total points for the All-American candidate, 77-69 the final, and that's 4 in a row won for Brittany Ezel's team. On to the courts, ETSU men's tennis with a chance to make some noise in Los Angeles at USC. A 2-day event in the ITA kickoff weekend. The Bucs lost to number 8 USC 4-0, but bounced back Sunday for a huge win over Virginia Tech 4-3. In the winning match, Diego Nunez, with a national ranking of 65, won his match, as did Robert Herrera, who advances to 3-1 on the campaign in singles play, with the final singles winner being David Gonzalez. ETSU also earned the decisive doubles point as Robert Herrera teamed up with Nunez to claim a win, as did David Biosca and Miguel Este. It is the first win of the season for ETSU. Well, congratulations to all the teams this week. Men's and women's basketball and men's tennis finished with a combined record of 5-1. Hard to get better than that. Next week, more hoops. We'll also add ETSU track and field. They have their second invitational of the season in Johnson City. For our entire crew, I've been Parker Schwartz for Buc Update Central.